Carson Wentz, the Indianapolis Colts quarterback, they're 4-5 in the season. They're a good football team. They've lost a couple of games they probably shouldn't have, and I'm glad to see that he's gotten a second chance after they booted him out of Philadelphia. I think he's an interesting cat, and I think he's a decent quarterback, and I think he's finding his way with the Indianapolis Colts. Has something really exciting going on this weekend, but he's not going to be there for it. I want to talk about that coming up in a few minutes. You mentioned McDonald's a few minutes ago. You did?
I didn't.
You said something about fast foods or something. You mentioned the word McDonald's. Mariah Carey. Yeah, you did.
Okay.
I did it because that's why I'm doing the story. As soon as you said it, I wanted to jump in. Mariah Carey. She's got her own McDonald's. You know the McDonald's meals? Everyone's doing the McDonald's meals. What is it? The Stallion gal? What's her face? She's got something at Hardee's. Man, it's nasty. Have you seen her? She is nasty. Okay. Megan Thee Stallion?
Oh, yeah. They all have their own meals now?
She's got the Megan Thee Stallion meal. Yeah, the Korean kids got their own meal, and James Harden's got his Subway meal. You go in and ask for the James Harden meal.
Yeah. Okay.
They all have their own meal now right? At all these fast food restaurants. That's the big thing. So Megan Thee Stallion, man, I don't know if you saw the commercial.
Mm-mm. What's in the meal?
She got the Hootie Hooties hanging out. She's walking through the restaurant, and it's some hot Megan Thee Stallion meal you can get at Hardee's. It looks like it'd give you heartburn the minute you take a bite of it. And I'm like, wow, they're getting out there a little bit.
All right, so what
Hardee's is the Fox of fast foods. Like they want to push buttons. They want to push the envelope. Fox is always willing to go out there.
Yeah, because wasn't it Carl's Jr. or Hardee's that did the dripping?
Oh yeah,
dripping juice.
Yeah, the Kate Upton stuff.
Yeah. Oh God, that was
good. yeah. She had the two burgers in front of her boobs. Yeah. You'll never see that from McDonald's. But Hardee's will, but they're going after the 22, 23, 24-year-old kid. They love Hardee's. That's why they make these burgers with like everything but the kitchen sink on it, and people say they love it.
What's Mariah Carey doing?
She, on December 13th, is not only going to have the Mariah Carey meal, but she's going to have the Mariah Carey menu. The entire McDonald's menu. Everything from the McRib, chicken nugget salads, is going to have something to do with Mariah Carey.
Like what, though?
Because she says she loves herself some McDonald's.
Really?
I'm trying to figure out what they had to pay her to do that. Yeah. And it's just in time for Christmas.
Right. So they're going to have whatever song's going to be going throughout the whole...
From the 13th.
But what I mean, it's still got to be the same food. Now, that's really interesting because you're not going to change your French fries. You're just going to name them.
You may have something like McDonald's had this special sauce that they were doing with something. I forget it. It was a special sauce dedicated to this South Korean boy group, whatever it was.
Okay.
So they may have a little extra something with it. It's going to be, listen, a pickle is a pickle is a pickle.
That's what I was just going to say. We
have sandwich stackers. We have dill pickles. We have bread and butter. Okay. It's slicing the pickle differently and repackaging it. That's what we do. We haven't had anything new in like 35 years.
That's right.
We take the same crap and repackage it and do it a different way, right?
That's so interesting.
And so the Mariah Carey McDonald's menu is going to be coming out.
It's like that's such a marketing thing. Like I don't understand because they're not going to change any of the food. They're not going to change any of the food.
I'll tell you one thing I did love about, and I don't know if you can, because there's some special orders. There's
McDonald's has special orders.
Well, yeah, you can go.
I don't go to McDonald's.
Well, you can ask them to make whatever you want.
No,
like I ask them to make me like hamburgers with tartar sauce and pickle or whatever. And then when you when you make special order food, it's it's going to be hot because they have to specially make it, right? Yeah. So like if you walked in and said I want a Big Mac with 6 buns on it, they'd make it for you.
No, they won't.
Yeah, they would.
How do they charge you?
They'll charge you extra for it, but they will make you whatever you want. Now, it pisses people off because it's a fast food restaurant and you're not getting it fast.
That's know.
But they used to have the Super Big Mac. It was a limited time only, man. And the Super Big Mac was so much better than the regular. It was just a big Mac.
The
whole damn thing was bigger.
So the bread was big. So it wasn't piled high. It was just
the same, and it tasted so much better than the regular Big Mac. I don't know why. And I was wondering maybe I should go order a Super Big Mac.
I did not know that you can custom order at McDonald's. It goes against McDonald's. It goes against.
Like they're not happy about it.
Because like you
go to the drive special order, and they're like,
oh, jeez.
Yeah, because I like tartar sauce and pickle on my burgers, and so I go special order and I go extra tartar sauce, extra pickles on my burgers because I'm a Midwest guy. We put tartar sauce and everything up there.
Well, but I feel like that one's okay because they're not asking you to construct it fundamentally different. That's what's so great about Starbucks. You can have anything you want.
Well, there you go. Maybe that's why it's Starbucks. So Carson Wentz,
the hell are we talking?
Is playing Jacksonville this weekend.
Yeah.
And his wife, Madison, who is a cutie pie, they've been married for 3 years. You know what she's going to do this weekend? She's going to have a baby. Their second baby.
Okay.
You know what he's going to be doing?
Playing football.
He's going to be playing football.
So he's missing the birth? Was it a scheduled C-section?
They didn't get that far into what's going to happen. He said, I could get a call here at camp at any point in time.
Okay.
He noted that he and his wife of 3 years have already discussed his decision to play.
Okay.
He then goes on to say in quotes, if it comes down to the game, I told my wife I'm playing, and then I'll come see you at the hospital afterwards. Mm-hmm. She knew that. She's been great. I think God will time it up the way it's supposed to be timed.
Oh, there's a good one.
Wentz and Madison revealed in July they were expecting a baby girl. The couple announced the birth of their first child, daughter Hadley Jane, back in April of 2020.
That's always that is always interesting because I feel like, and I don't know, maybe this is your fan base. I feel like the decisions there, you hear this, right? It's all athletes, all pro athletes. You hear it both ways. So-and-so didn't make the trip because wife is having a baby.
Yep.
And that's okay. I feel like that's okay. So-and-so, and then so-and-so is playing, wife is having a baby. That's okay. Made a decision. It's one of those ones where I feel like you can't really slam. Now, the quarterback, I guess quarterback is, I'm trying to think of other sports, right? I'm trying to think of other sports. So, like basketball, LeBron's kids grow up, but, LeBron doesn't make the trip because his baby might be born.
Yep.
Are we okay? Well, the football season's shorter, too.
I may have thought about this a little differently 20 years ago. But as a father now of 3, I would think that I would not miss.
Yeah.
I was doing a radio show. It's so important I was going to be there, but I did the show from the delivery room. I actually called. They called me while I was doing the delivery. Said, well, you turned it into a radio thing.
Right, exactly. Well, you can't do that.
I do think it's interesting that it's quote, if it comes down to the game, I told my wife I'm playing. Okay, that doesn't sound like they had a discussion at all.
Yeah.
And then I'll come see you at the hospital afterwards.
Yeah, that. Maybe they.
And then he said she knew that.
Yeah, that whole.
She's been great.
Yeah.
I think God will time it up the way it's supposed to be. This is like
I'm
the
hoping
worst
they misquoted.
I'm
hoping they just misquoted him.
He said they had a discussion about it. The discussion is not, I'm going to play. Are you cool with that? And she's like, well, you just told me you're playing, so I guess I'm going to have to be cool with that because I really don't have it. Okay? She knew that. Like if they had a discussion back in July, okay, you're going to be having this baby during the football season. I'll be playing. Are you cool with that? And now that she's been holding this kid and vomiting all night,
right,
and eating all her pickles and hemorrhoids and all those things, now she's about ready to have this baby this weekend. And I hope it works out that she doesn't have this baby.
Well, according to him, it won't because God's going to time it right.
Yeah.
That's really bad. Like I'm hoping that you said you like him. Maybe they just misquoted. Maybe
he's not going to lose his job. He's been given a second chance. They're 4-5 on the season. They're 3 games out of first place. They're in second place in their division.
Who's the backup?
I have no idea. And things change. This is only our second child.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't think you should ever miss the birth of your first. If you're having your 6th or 7th, I could think maybe.
Well, our dads.
I could go, okay, we've been through
generationally, our dads.
Yeah. And I've also been around people going, no, you got a job, you play, you do that. I've missed recitals for my kids because I had to go work. Are you sure? No, I got to go work tonight. Are you sure that I'm going to miss this recital? Are you okay? Yes. But there's a little bit of I can't believe he's missing his girl's first recital because he's got to go work at Jitterbugs tonight.
Listen.
It will come back to haunt your ass.
That's
I'm telling
a generational thing, and it is, and you're absolutely right.
And so I'm thinking, okay, if you're 7-2,
right,
or you're a game out of first place, I need to be there. I understand that. Okay, what if this is a playoff game?
Yeah.
If the Indianapolis Colts somehow make the playoffs, and his wife was due to give birth this weekend, and you can't make a playoff game, should it change? Should it be, I'm either there for the birth? For me, you're either there for the birth of your child or you're not. It doesn't depend. It doesn't matter what you. What if it's a Super Bowl?
Oh, I see.
Are you going to play in the? Are you going to?
See, but if
I will be there for the birth of my child.
But if it's a Super Bowl, if my spouse Well, see, I can't do this. We cannot do this. I was gonna give you a scenario. We are men, so we don't know. I was just gonna say, if it was my spouse and they were playing in the Super Bowl and I was about to give birth, I would say, you got to do this. This is a Super Bowl. I'm gonna be okay. My mom's gonna be here. That kind of thing. But see, we can't. There's no point in us having this conversation.
They've only been married 3 years.
Right, but we're not the ones giving birth.
I know.
So
it's only their second child.
Well, and so here's the thing, too. What do you do? Listen, seriously, let's get into logistics of this. If it's a scheduled C-section, they can schedule it.
Well, I don't think it is because they don't know. If it's a C-section, he'd know when the baby's coming. They can do it on Tuesday.
Okay, so here's what gets interesting. He is scheduled to play Sunday?
Sunday, 1 o'clock.
Okay, he's scheduled to play Sunday. It's one thing you hear, sometimes they'll say, okay, we're going to, if the baby doesn't come, if the water doesn't break, we're going to induce on this day, or we're going to induce at this time. But if none of that's going on, then she's due, and it should happen on Sunday, but it could happen on Saturday night. It could happen on Friday. It could happen on Monday. So do you have to do, as part of your job as Carson Wentz, you have to make the call. You have to tell your team, okay, look, I don't know if it's going to happen on Sunday, but I want you all to count me out. I mean, is that what he's got to do? Because he doesn't know.
Even if it's a Super Bowl, if it's a big game?
No, I'm saying just even this game. You know what I'm saying?
Like he's playing. I mean, period.
But if he said my wife's due, and we think it's going to be Sunday, but I want to play, he's got to commit one way or the other to the team.
Well, I mean, you could put it back on her and say, why don't we have a C-section on Saturday? Then I can play on Sunday.
Well, because medically they may or may not do that. I don't know. I don't know if you can say we need to have a C-section.
There's 7 days of the week, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, no, but if it's a C-section, if a C-section is a whole different thing.
I think this is too. I think this is a generational thing. We talked about the medical leave that was out of the infrastructure thing, and now it's back in. Who's the guy who just the politician who's taken like 6 weeks off?
Pete Buttigieg. Yeah, but do you know why? Let me throw something in here because people are missing this. His baby, his and his partner, their baby was significant, was in the NICU, was super sick. So this is not like, and let me just say one other thing, and people are going to, listen, sick, and he was conducting business from. Yeah. So like, it wasn't just, I'm going on vacation, but go ahead.
But for the most part, we have, a week or 2 weeks, depending on who you work for. Most places are like, just take all the time you need.
Right.
As long as you
it's usually
get your work done, it's paid leave, whatever, in most cases, but a lot of businesses not. And a lot of cases, I had a surgery on my back and my neck on a Monday. I was back at work on Wednesday.
Well, that's just
because I wanted to be back at work,
dumb.
and I felt like I could be there. Well, I did it, but I mean, it was a generational thing where the wife would stay home with the kid, and the man would continue to work. And I don't think it's soft, or I don't think it's bad that men want to spend time with their kids. A lot of people would sit there and say, okay, well, you're spending a week with your kid, and then you're coming back to work. Well, the kid's, okay, now he's 8 days old. What's the difference between you taking a week off and being there? And there's a lot of different things. If you've ever had a baby, you got to get the kids in place and make sure she's comfortable and everything. Are you sure I'm good to go? And then you go.
Well, and you're leaving.
Because you got to go provide for your family. You got to go work, right? And I'm not saying it can't be the other way around. Well, the guy staying home and the girl works. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay.
But my point being here is, first of all, when you say she knew that, that is not the right thing to say in any quote. She knew that. She knew what she was getting herself into. We already discussed this. She knew what the situation was.
She's the one.
Well, things change over a 9-month pregnancy.
Well, and she's the one having the baby, Tony.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing I can do.
She knows that the minute I can be there, I'll fly home.
That's right.
I'm telling you, there's a piece of her going,
oh, yeah. I know. And you're right. It is a generational thing, right? Our dads, well, first of all, when we were born, they weren't allowed to be there.
They weren't even in the hospital.
Right. My dad sat in the waiting room.
Yeah.
After my mom went into labor.
Yeah.
For 24 hours with me.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
And generationally, our fathers didn't change diapers either.
No, they didn't.
My dad held my first son, and he was like, hold him like this because he shit his pants. And I'm like, Dad, it's your grandson.
Yep.
He's like, please. It's like,
You know what's really funny about that? This is really funny because we talk about men and manly men and men being men and blah, 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 blah. What's really interesting, and I was watching last night, The Last Alaskans. I was tired.
Yeah.
It's done with the CMAs.
After the CMAs, yeah.
Yeah, I was just like...
The CMAs will do that too.
But The Last Alaskans, and one of the characters, he's one of these guys, he's lived out in the middle of nowhere forever, and he kills bears and stuff. And he's got a grandchild, and his daughter who grew up there, she moved back to Alaska, different parts, and they give him the grandchild because she's going to go out fishing with her mom.
Yeah.
They're badass fishermen too. Like they're just pulling in whatever it is, salmon and trout.
Yeah.
And they show him, and this is Alaska, he's sweating and he's panting. He's like, he says, he's like, I can wrestle a bear. I can skin a deer. He's like, this is the scariest thing I've ever done. And it's a lot, and he's absolutely sweating. And what I think is so interesting about that, particularly for us as men, we can do anything. We can handle anything. We go to work, hand us a baby, and we absolutely lose our...
It's that video, what is it, the military dude that was changing the diaper?
Oh, you're the gagging? But that's what I mean. That's like, I took it on. I don't know about you. Dude, I took it on. I mean, besides the fact I love my kids and I wanted to be a part of it and all that stuff, and I told Jules all that. But in here it was a little different. In here it was, I can do this. I can handle this.
Yeah.
I'm going to figure out, damn it, I'm going to figure out how to change this damn diaper. Julie tells the story all the time with our first one because I didn't know that they pee on you. Mm-hmm. Right? I had no idea they pee on you, and he was small. So I said, sweet, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get him. I'm change a diaper, right? But in my head, it was more task oriented. Yeah. I am going to change a diaper. I'm going to figure this thing out. I'm going to change a diaper. Yeah. And then throughout the entire night, shit. Because every time I went to go put the diaper, he peed in my face. Shit. But I think it's really interesting that particularly as men, we are so up for challenges that in addition to wanting to love our children and be a part of it, why can't we just see it as and here's the other piece, just we'll get graphic. Talk to any woman who's had a baby. Yeah. Right? They're like, are you kidding me? Yeah. They've just ripped. I got a rip from my belly button to my anus. Yeah. And you're complaining because you can't change a diaper, and I got a thing sick. Yeah. You know, it's very.
I don't know how much. And I realize having an NFL job is there's a lot of time, and you obviously you have the money and the wherewithal to have your family travel with you and stay with you.
Do you think he's worried about his job? Do you think they're slamming on him?
I do not think he's worried about his job. He's the starting quarterback. I think he's been loved there in Indianapolis. I think he's the quarterback for the future, and I think that he's a good fit and he's getting better at it. So I don't think he's going to lose his job.
Do you think he's getting pressure? Not pressure from teammates, management.
I don't know. I there's a thing that you do things for your teammates. I don't know how many of his teammates have kids. There's probably some of his teammates going, dude, you don't need to be here.
Right.
You need to go be with your wife. I'm just telling you, she can sit there and say it's okay. And she knew that.
We should ask, what did Al do?
I'm not sure what Al did.
Because, his position, wouldn't you argue that as a kicker, it's almost as critical, if not?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so specialized?
Absolutely. I'm not sure. If I remember correctly, he played. And Al's kind of like, this is my job, this is what I do, and I'm providing for the family, and so I must do this in order for you to have all the things you need. So I think that's maybe where he came from. A great guy.
Yeah.
But I think that he may be missing the boat. The fact that this is even a story should tell you, the fact that we're talking about this should tell you that maybe you need to rethink of this situation.
Well, it's Veterans Day. I think it's ironic that it's Veterans Day because you think about our military and how, you see these stories all the time, how many of them not only miss the birth of their child, they don't see him for the first 2 years. Yeah. So if you have an opportunity, you truly have an opportunity to be at the birth of your child and you're not the one giving birth. I think this whole thing it's not funny, but the woman's not like, I don't think I'm going to be here. Yeah. This is my personal opinion, and particularly here on Veterans Day. If you are in a position to see the birth of your child or be there for the birth of your child, you're crazy not to. Because there's a lot of our military who were never at the birth of their child because they were serving our country.
Well, what about the Olympic athlete who was told that she couldn't have her newborn child with her at the Olympics
Well,
because
that was
of COVID.
bullshit. I mean, like, come on.
It's like,
And it wasn't even that she was giving birth, that she couldn't have it.
yeah.
Like, what the hell? And the whole and you can't breastfeed and all that kind of stuff. I mean, come on, people.
Carson Wentz needs to be there for his wife.
Well, yeah.
Even if he doesn't want to be there, she's got this. Maybe she's a tough ass. Maybe it comes out sideways and she doesn't even make a peep. Maybe she's a tough as nails woman.
Yeah.
But for the sake of down the road, not having to deal with the resentment of her going, you weren't even here for your second child.
Well,
I'm telling you, this will come back up. This will come back up in an argument somewhere down the road.
That quote is the most. Again, I don't know if they misquoted or bits and pieces are pulled out from what he said. But if that's what he said, that's the most defensive quote I've ever heard.
And then to try to wrap it up with a bow,
right?
Hopefully God will give us the right time.
Come on, dude. Right, that's exactly. God has a plan.
This is one of those things where even if your wife says, no, I don't want to do anything special for Valentine's Day. I don't want to do dinner. I'm just happy. I'm telling you, don't do it.
Now be careful though.
Step up and do something. Because just do anything.
Don't pull a Will Smith.
I don't want to do anything special. Yeah, no, most of us can't do that. I don't want to do anything special for anniversary. What do you want to do for anniversary? First of all, don't ask. Don't ask your wife, what do you want to do for anniversary? Because even if you're married for 16, 17 years,
well,
Al, and I hope he doesn't mind because he shared this on the air. They had an anniversary coming up. I think it was their 20th or 19th or something like that. What are you going to do? Oh, we're going to get a Little Caesars. Let's order in. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, I guess that's what she wants. That's what we do. That's what we do. We don't make a big deal out of it. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. And she's totally cool with it. And I'm like, are you sure? Well, yeah.
I was going to say, there's a difference.
Well, we see how that ended. Not to say that was the only reason.
I'm not going here.
All I'm saying is if she says, don't worry about it just a little bit. Don't go over the top.
But I think you can go, see, and I think you can backdoor it. But if she says, don't worry about it, because you do need to be careful, because you can say, hey, I hear you, but I'd like us to do something. I'd like for us to do something special that you would also enjoy.
Yeah.
Because you have to be careful, because when she says don't do anything, don't worry about it, you do need to be careful doing something big or doing something at the top, because and I'm saying she really may not want to go out to dinner.
Yeah, but do something.
Yeah. Because
if she says I don't want to do anything and you don't do anything, then she's going to be pissed. And then you're going to go, well, you said you don't want to do anything. Yeah, but it's Valentine's Day. For God's sake,
but then I'm going to go on the other side. Listen, I'm going to go on the other side. Because, I'm always slamming on men.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to slam on women. Yeah. Don't say, don't do anything if you want them to do something.
Exactly.
That is the stupidest.
But guys should be smart enough to know.
No, but just to say, listen, you could solve this problem. I could solve this problem. Come to my office and solve this problem. She always says, I don't do anything. I don't do anything. She always gets upset. And I would say to her, what, do you want him to do something? Yes, I want him to do something special. Then why the hell don't you just say, you know what? Do something special for us. Do something special for Valentine's Day for us. At least let them know. Or the other way. I've been married 23 years. Is there anything you want for Valentine's Day? Is there anything you want us to do special? Jules asks me that all the time.
Yeah. And ask once.
Yeah. Well, but then answer.
One time, because
honestly.
After 23 years, you should know what your wife wants to do for Valentine's Day or what she's into. You should.
No, because you're not going to do the same thing every year.
No, you're not, but you should know that you probably don't even need to ask. If you don't even ask your wife, what do you want to do on our anniversary or Valentine's Day or the birth of her?
I got to be careful. I argue with you. I think you have to be careful.
No, because by asking, you're checking the temperature of the water on what she's expecting. And if you step it up as a man and do it without asking, then you're the man.
No, but what if you do something she doesn't want to do?
After 23 years, you ought to flip a no if you're going to do something. Take her fishing, take her bowling? No. Take her hatchet throwing?
No. Axe throwing's fun. No, but I'm going to argue with you. I think you have to be. I think there can be and should be some conversation about it without it going over the top, ridiculous detail. Well, I think there's going to be a check-in.
And let's differentiate here, because anniversaries and Valentine's Day, ladies, go both ways.
Yeah. Well, that's why there's got to be conversation.
How many times has a wife ever said to a husband, "What do you want to do for our anniversary?"
My wife says it all the time.
What do you want to do for Valentine's Day?
My wife says
I can't
all the
remember the
time.
last time a woman ever asked me that question.
But if you're in a relationship, that's what I'm saying. If you're in a relationship and it's a holiday like that, it's a joint holiday, then it is not incumbent on you as the man to just do it.
It is incumbent not to play football on Sunday, though, if your wife is
Well,
having
that's a
her
whole big
second
thing because
baby. And then when I heard that they had only been married for 3 years, I'm like, dude, you need to set the groundwork here. You're the cornerstone of this thing. You're bringing the money in.
You're blowing it.
People
because
know
your
who you are.
career is going to be what? How old is he?
He's in his
30s?
he's in his mid to late 20s.
Okay, you got 10 more years. You got 10 more
Well,
years.
if he's lucky.
Right, okay,
he
you
has
got
5 more
you
years.
have 5 more years.
Yeah.
And then you ain't playing football anymore,
Yeah.
and you still got all that stuff that went down because you weren't at the birth of your baby. And to your point,
Yeah, you need to be there.
well,
If for any other reason, just to make sure that she doesn't have.
and we hear it all the time. We hear it all the time. We hear it all the time, and that's what I was going back to the first thing I just said, which is nobody's going to slam on you, particularly in this situation. You're not going to get slammed on for being there. There are certain excuses that are always okay.
Yeah.
Right? And we, oh my God, we saw this during COVID all the time. You've had little kids. You're at work. Let's say you and your wife work. Get the call from the school. My kid's sick.
Yep.
It is the immediate, unless you're doing surgery on the air in the moment, whatever. It is, hey, y'all, I got to go. They called. My kid's got a fever. They're not dying.
Yep.
It is your absolute get out of jail meeting free. You just do it. And nobody complains. Someone complaining about it in the back. And this is one of them. You just go to the birth of your kid.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel better now.
I think a little less of him. The fact that I'm now.
Well, I don't like the quote. The quote was
rooting
bad.
against the Colts this weekend. I saw Jacksonville against Buffalo last week. They almost won. I'm going to be rooting for Jacksonville.
Are you going to bet against them? See,
well, that's the other thing is, if you know that you screwed up. No, you guys go out and have a good time tonight. I'll be fine. I've got the 4 kids. One's got the flu. The other one's got diarrhea. And I know you have bowling every Tuesday night. You go and have a good time. Okay? That's what she says to you. And you're like, super. Great. Thank you. Great. She knew that. She said it was okay. Okay, as the guy, and this is where women screw up, because she should say, no, your ass needs to stay home. But she knows it means the world to you. You have your bowling championship tonight. You're going to get your little trophy, and I hope you bowl a 600 series. You go bowling tonight.
Because then your PP will feel
because I know how much it means to
right.
you, honey. That's where the guy, he's walking out the door going, okay, I am, and then he comes back and says, well, I really wanted to go, but I couldn't relax and couldn't enjoy myself because I knew that you were okay with it and you're not okay with it. And then she's like, honey, I told you to go. And he's like, okay. And he's in the car with his buddies and he's got that in the back of his mind. So Carson Wentz is either going to play like crap on Sunday or he's going to have the game of his life.
Yeah, no, I think if you read that.
If they end up losing 35-3, then she's going to go, what the hell?
Yeah.
Look what you missed out on, the birth of your second child. And you got beat by 32.
Right.
So
and you got sacked 6 times, 4 fumbles, and 2 picks.
I will bet on Indianapolis this weekend because if you are going to be the miss of the birth of your child, you better win the damn football game.
Off.
You better win the Super Bowl, my friend. You better make the playoffs. All right. Or maybe when he was with her back, in June. He would have said, maybe we should wait a couple months because we'll be out of the football season. We only have sex in January, February, and March to make sure that we're.
Hey, we had our kids was all scheduled.
He's another one of those guys where Carson Wentz is not the best. Most quarterbacks are really good looking.
Yeah,
look at Bo Nix. Good Lord Almighty, Bo Nix. He ain't one of the rip, and it's unfortunate that so many people set so many high standards on him based on his daddy. I don't think it was fair to him.
Right. But he's going to get NIL stuff.
He is like, that dude is like too good looking. Like I look at him, I go, Jay Barker same way. I was working with Jay on,
Jay Barker's
he's a beautiful man.
Yeah.
I
Well, Tom Brady.
Sometimes I just stare at him.
Tom Brady's the same way.
Tom Brady's getting better looking.
Yeah. I think it's the avocado toast. Something, he must be taking some sort of, I mean, I know he's on
his wife does all those makeup things. She's doing B12 injections and stuff for him.
You think he's doing Botox?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you know what? As a quarterback, like you really can't, because all your stuff's up to here.
Yeah.
So like he could be Botoxed out
that kid for the Jets, super good looking quarterback.
Carson
Wentz?
No,
not so
Mac
much.
Jones.
Yeah. I always think it's interesting when I look at really ugly, successful people to see what their wives look like. Carson Wentz's wife is smoking hot. And I'm like, okay, the only reason she's with you is because you are an NFL quarterback. I hate to say that. Because, when he's out, he's no longer a quarterback.
Well, he will be Carson Wentz.
He'll be Carson Wentz,
that guy who used to play.
Yeah.
And if
she'll go, what did I ever see in you? Oh, it was that RPO you ran so well back in high school is what it was. You could run an RPO, my friend. That turned me on. Or you could really play a guitar in that band. But now...
Yeah, but see, that's a whole different thing.
Now you're in rehab. And
but that's a whole different thing, dude. If you can play the guitar...
Maybe that's why Ozzy wants to go back on stage. Because he wants his wife to continue to love him.
If you can play that, that's the difference. I think that's the big difference between musicians and athletes. When you're done playing your sport, you're kind of done. You don't really have a tool. You don't have a thing that you can bring to parties. Yeah. You're a football player. You're a basketball player. Here you are at a party. Now, you're just this giant person who, whatever. Serena Williams, you're a tennis player. What are you doing at parties? But if you can play guitar, play piano, you can sing
forever,
right? Damon Johnson, man. Damon Johnson's playing with Skinner. He's playing with his band. He's playing with everybody's band. And you know what? At Christmas time, he's around the piano and everybody's surrounding him. And and that is a function of his job. People like you and I can't sing anyway.
I want to be Damon Johnson.
I'm telling you, man, I'm getting Damon Johnson envy.
I spoke with him yesterday.
Would you tell him that? Tell him that I both love him and envious of him.
I want to be Damon Johnson in my next life.
He's a great dad.
Yeah.
Plays golf.
I know, right?
Plays golf, plays in 2 bands.
Taking pictures with his kids. He's got
taking a picture of his kids. He's got guitar. What do you got? Contract.
I know, right?